Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com. In today's film I'm going to be talking about how to propagate and grow lemongrass. If you're not already subscribed to us at Learn How to Garden, there's a link directly above me here. Just click on the link. That means you can input your email address, then you get a notification every single time we put up a new film. You get access to all our written posts. It tells you about the monthly gardening club at Learn How to Garden, which is an amazing resource, and all the specialist courses that we run. This is how most of us think of lemongrass. It is an almost essential ingredient for most Thai, Vietnamese and a lot of Asian cooking. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is how to propagate this. Now, it's important that when you think about lemongrass, you think about these small stalks. What you don't want to do is propagate lemongrass from seed. There are some people who sell lemongrass seed, and lemongrass comes in two varieties. It's similar to tarragon in that respect, but the good lemongrass, the really good one to use in the kitchen, very rarely sets seed. This seed setting variety is inferior in its taste and its texture. So what you need to do for a start is get hold of some fresh lemongrass stalks. Either you can get them online or go into your local supermarket and have a look through some of the packets. And what you're looking for is that the actual basal plate here is still white, looks fresh and hasn't hardened off and gone brown. Once you've got your stems of lemongrass, in fact this isn't a stem, it's called a tiller, and this is one of the stems from the outside of the actual plant. Once you've got those, trim them to about 10 to 15 centimetres long, and then get yourself a small vase with some water in the bottom and just pop it into that water. The warmer you can keep the water, the quicker the roots will actually come from that basal plate. So if you do this in the spring when you're propagating, what I'd suggest is you just pop this in the corner of the propagator, and if you run it between 20 to 25 degrees, it will actually root really quickly. And after about 4 weeks, this is what you'll be left with. So you've actually got the basal plate now has sent out some roots. And the next thing we need to do is obviously pot this on. The roots are very brittle, so you need to be careful when we're potting it on. Get yourself a decent sized pot, some multi-purpose compost, and if you want to go to the effort, get some of this stuff. This is called vermiculite, and add that into the compost. That does two things. One, it lightens the compost slightly, and two, it holds a bit more moisture. Lemongrass likes a nice moist soil to grow in. Fill the pot. This is bone dry compost, and that's important. Once you've filled it, take your thumb and make a largish indentation in the compost. Take the lemongrass, rest the roots in, and then bang the side of the pot and get some more compost, and very gently press down so that the lemongrass is held but you haven't broken the roots. It's really easy at this point to break these roots off. And then it's a matter of watering this, keeping it evenly moist. If you're growing through the winter, it'll need to stay in a heated greenhouse or your conservatory with as much light as you can give it. A bathroom sometimes, bathroom windowsill can be fantastic because it's nice and moist. When I say keep it nice and moist, don't stand it in water. If you want to, you can stand it in a saucer which is full of pebbles, so the pebbles give off a moisture. And keep it nice and moist and it'll start obviously to grow. Once it's growing actively, it's a good idea to feed it about once a month with a high nitrogen feed, which is different to a lot of plants, which people recommend tomato feed. A high nitrogen because what we're looking for is lots of leaf growth. It's the leaves of the actual lemongrass that we want to use in the kitchen. Once it starts to fill the pot, pot it on, and you probably, to get a decent crop, need to end up with about a 7.5 litre pot. When you've got a 7.5 litre pot, what you'll find is the central plant will start to send off some of the stems around the edge, and it's those stems that you then crop and use in the kitchen. Or obviously you can take those and propagate them on again. So a quick recap. For most people, you've got to think of lemongrass as a house plant or to be grown in a warm greenhouse. It needs more heat than a lot of the things we want to grow, but will reward you with a really architectural plant. So it's a fantastic dual purpose thing to grow in the house because you'll get a great architectural plant and that amazing citrusy taste that you can use in the kitchen. Keep it moist but not wet, feed with high nitrogen, and really nothing could be easier.